What is up everybody, Scratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. We got some news from Plarium guys regarding the new patch that's gonna drop in next week. We're gonna have a bunch of new champions. Is it gonna be another power creep or what exactly is gonna be? We have the fusion starting and they've done a huge, and I repeat, a huge change to the game. We're gonna talk about that in a second as well guys, but let's bring it on the screen. We have a bunch of new champions, honestly. Some of them, they look pretty interesting. So first, we already know about the save team, the presets, right? The skill instruction, we already covered that, so no need in repeating the same thing over and over again. But the huge thing that they've done guys, and man, that's just huge, like I don't even know how to react to it. But listen to this: Playtime Rewards update. When the update hits, Playtime Rewards will increase with your player level. See the short list of changes below. So if you thought that your rewards were bad before, forget about it. All that is getting fixed right now guys. The rewards are gonna be huge. Level 1 to level 30, no changes. Level 31 to 30. At 5 minutes, you are getting 12,000 silver instead of 7,500. So it's all about these ones right here guys, okay? Playtime rewards, the ones when you log in and every time you collect these rewards from here. Huge changes. Then at 40 minutes you're getting one arcane potion, a greater potion, man, instead of a lesser arcane potion. Wow, that's huge. Then at 90 minutes you're getting 30,000 silver instead of 20,000. Wow. Level 50, because that was not enough. At 5 minutes, you'll be getting 20,000 silver. At 40 minutes, you'll be getting 2, and I repeat, it's not 1, it's not a lesser, it's 2 greater arcane potions, guys. And at 90 minutes, 55,000 silver. Wow. I'm just shocked. Wow. Huge changes. These are definitely gonna make everything better with our daily rewards here. I really feel like they should add a refill for 3v3 as well here, or if they don't want to add a refill for 3v3, add 2 energy pots, increase the silver from level 50 upwards to at least 100k starting from 5 minutes, 150k, 200k. Give me a superior potion, man, come on. That's just like a slap in the face. Take out the mystery shard, give me 2 greater and a superior here, and that will fix it. This is a bit disappointing, because we've been asking for some kind of changes on these playtime rewards for quite a while now, but hey, that's what they give us, guys. Now, let's forget about that and move over to the champion. So, we covered the fusion champion in yesterday's video. It looks pretty good. It's not gonna look like it's gonna break the game in arena, in clan boss, in dungeons, anywhere. Honestly, he looks like a fairly decent champion. I'm not sure about the multipliers. So once I know the multipliers, I can tell you, yeah, he's gonna be a badass champion. But let's cover the rest of them. So we're gonna get 2 more legendaries and we're gonna get the 4 epics needed for the fusion, and we're gonna get 4 rare champions as well, guys. These 4 rare champions, they might be used for the epic fusions. The epic fusions are used for the legendary fusion. So it's gonna be a very boring classic fusion, unfortunately. I'm really not a big fan of those ones. But we do have Lady Kimmy, guys. Magic support from the Shadow King faction. She looks pretty interesting, honestly. So her A1, Lady's Touch, attacks one enemy, then attacks the enemy with the highest turn meter. Will attack the same enemy twice if the initial target also has the highest turn meter. The second hit has a 60% chance fully booked of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. The A2, Flurry of Petals, attacks all enemies. Fully booked has a 100% chance of placing 50% decreased accuracy and a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Also has a 100% chance of decreasing each target's turn meter by 15%. The A3, Spirit Flux, removes one random buff from each enemy, then has a 100% chance fully booked of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns on enemies who have buffs removed. Also, fills the thermometer of all allies by 15%, places an increased accuracy and an increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's on a 4-turn cooldown. Now, I have to disagree with something on her skill right here, and that's this part. Removes 1 random buff from each enemy and then applies block, buffs, debuff. She only buffs accuracy on the team after she does this. So that means she needs a super high amount of accuracy in order to do it, you know? So I feel like the order of the skill should be a bit spinned around and give her the benefit of having increased accuracy. And then, of course, from the A3, you're gonna move in the A2, land defense, land decrease speed and decrease accuracy. The passive, so whenever this champion places a debuff on an enemy, also decreases the enemy's thermometer by 5% for each debuff placed. Whenever this champion or an ally receives a debuff, fills their thermometer by 5% for each debuff received. Now, this sounds so good. Whenever a Madame series or a Chimar is gonna debuff my Siphi or Warlord in arena, they're gonna get thermometer, allowing them to cut on the enemy team. So that's gonna be a huge thing to keep in mind. She has this nasty passive. Seems like they're bringing more champions with similar passives. I really like the idea of all this. Aura increases ally speed in Doom Tower battles by 30%. Moving over to the next champion, Noble. Force Affinity, attack-based champion from the Shadow King faction. The avatar looks badass. So we have his A1, Smell Fear. Am I feeling any fear here, guys? Attacks one enemy, a 50% chance of decreasing the duration of 2 random buffs of the target by 1 turn. If the target is under a fear or true fear debuff, has a 75% chance to decrease the duration of all of the target's buffs by 1 turn instead. A2, Harbinger, attacks one enemy, will ignore 30% of the target's defense, fills this champion thermometer by 25% after the attack. If the target is under a fear, true fear debuff decreases the cooldown of the Dismay skill by 1 turn. His A3, aka Dismay, attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance of decreasing each target's thermometer by 20%. If there are enemies under fear or true fear debuffs, will also fill this champion's thermometer by the amount those enemies lose. So that sounds pretty interesting again. Now, if this skill right here might have good multipliers, again, he's gonna be a pretty good attack-based champion. He does seem like everything goes around based on fear, true fear, decreases a bit the thermometer, this and that, but overall, he's a damage dealer champion. He can be paired with another fear champion to make him benefit a bit more of his own kit, to say like this, but then he has the passive. Desolation. Whenever an enemy's thermometer is fully depleted by any champion, has a 75% chance of placing a true fear debuff on that enemy for 1 turn. So, it's pretty hard to fully deplete the thermometer with this champion. The enemy team needs to have super low amount of thermometer, have no thermometer at all. So overall, it's pretty hard. You can get a Lissandra in the team with you. You can get champions that fully deplete the thermometer. There are many more rather than just Lissandra, guys. But seems like he's a bit more dependable of other champions to do his job, this one right here. So I'm not that excited about this champion. I feel like if his multipairs are gonna be low, he's gonna be more of a Vault Guardian. He does look awesome though. Moving over to the epic champions, guys, we have 4 new ones, how I said. So we have Siege Hulk Magic Attack Champion from the Ogrin's Tribes. The epic champions actually look pretty decent. So if you're not able to actually fuse the legendary champion, you might be able to pick a couple of epics and just go for those specific epics that they might help you for faction wars, they might help you to progress in game. So Battering Ram on his A1 attacks one enemy, decreases the target's thermometer by 15% if the target is under a defense down or decreased speed debuff. His A2, Thrashing Feet, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies. Has a 100% chance of placing a defense down for 2 turns. His A3, Siege Breaker, places a 30% increased crit rate, a 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance fully booked of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff on the target for 2 turns. His aura increases ally crit rate in Doom Tower battles by 24%. Pretty good aura as well to help you in the Doom Tower. Moving over to the next champion, Gory, Spirit attack from the Shadowkin. We have his A1, Cold Comfort, attacks one enemy 2 times, places an extra hit if the target is under a freeze debuff, heals this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted. His A2, Frost Jotsu, attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 100% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. A3 Frostbreaker attacks one enemy, will ignore increased defense, and shield buffs will ignore 50% of the target's defense if they are under a freeze debuff. Places a counter attack buff and a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. Now, he seems to have a higher chance of landing freeze than Pixniel. His passive, Dignity, counterattacks with a Cold Comfort skill whenever an enemy places a stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear or true fear debuff on an ally. Pretty decent. So, moving over to the next one, guys. Scatix, Void Support Lizardman Champion. Leg Rack attacks one enemy, 30% chance to decrease speed for 2 turns. Transfer Rush attacks all enemies, 100% chance fully booked of stealing 1 random buff from each enemy. Pretty interesting, right? So you attack a group of enemies, you can steal a buff from each one of them. A3, Scales of the Ages, removes all debuffs from all allies, then places block debuffs and a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The shield buff is equal to 20% of this champion's max HP. Again, great to help you with the Faction Wars if you don't have a Krisk. Great cleanser, and you get a shield and block debuffs from this champion. And that's on a 4-turn cooldown fully booked. You might be able to make him work for Clan Boss if you want as a cleanser if you don't have a better champion. Passive, places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever their HP drops below 30%. Increases ally resistance in all battles by 40. Honestly, I don't find him as a bad champion at all. Pretty interesting. But moving over to the next champion. The most wished champion in the entire game. Why? Because we finally got a reviver for the Skinwalker faction, guys. So how far is the task? Force support champion from the Skinwalkers. Burly Bash attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn. This is the only skill that requires accuracy, so you might wanna skip the accuracy part on this champion. War Whoop places a 50% increased attack and a 30% increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. Eternal War revives 2 random allies with 50% HP and fills their turn meter by 50% after the revival. Places a 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. Awesome reviving skill. Turn meter, 2 allies and strengthen on all the team. His aura increases ally resistance in all battles by 40. Pretty good, especially for the boss on stage 21, guys. Moving over to the rare champions, we have Mykolas, Void Support from the Ogryn tribes. Honestly, the rare champions, they don't look great. Attacks one enemy, heals this champion by 30% of the damage inflicted. Also heals the ally with the lowest HP by 10% of their max HP. The heal will not affect this champion. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 20% of their max HP. Then places a ally protection, a 25% ally protection on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Will also heal all allies except this champion by 10% of their max HP. Absorption Roots decreases the damage all allies receive by 5%. This champion will receive that damage instead. His aura increases ally defense in Faction Wars by 21%. So he's not utterly trashy, but he's fairly decent. The next champion, Hellborn Sprite. I do love a good sprite, guys. A cold, iced sprite. I love it. Now, will I love a Hellborn Sprite? I'm not too sure. Let's check out his skill. Spirit Support from the Demon Spawn. Shivering Melody attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 15% weakened debuff for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy 3 times, each hit has a 75% chance of placing a heal reduction for 2 turns. Increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, then places a 15% increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's on a 3-turn cooldown, so he can actually... Oh, that's a passive. How will that passive come in play, actually? At the start of its turn, or something like that? I was gonna say it might work instead of Sunless Survivor, of Godseeker or Neri, but I'm not sure how that passive is exactly gonna work. Probably at the start of the turn, whenever it's gonna be the very first turn, that passive is gonna come in play and get wasted. Probably. Next champion, Odaki, Force Defense Shadowkin, attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a provoke for 1 turn, attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 20% of their max HP, and then the A3 places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn, also places a 30% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. His aura increases ally defense in dungeons by 25%. Assassin, magic attack, Shadowkin faction. Now this avatar looks dope. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of landing a poison for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance fully booked of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the enemy by 1 turn. On a 3-turn cooldown, the A1 goes as well on a 75% chance fully booked, sorry. The A3 attacks one enemy, 100% chance of placing a 15% weaken for 2 turns. And the aura increases ally speed in all battles by 10%. QOL Improvements. Champion Index will display champions' names under their avatar, making it easier to navigate. Sort by rank will become the default filter for the pre-battle champion selection screen. Champion rarity filter will become available in the champion collection tavern and champion selection screen. An option to keep auto battles on by default will be added to all arena and clan boss battles. It will appear as checkbox on the champion selection screen. That's good for a 3v3 arena actually, and clan boss as well. Yeah, some teams they might just go fully auto. Players of level 50 and higher will get a button that allows them to access the last played campaign location with a single tap. That should make accessing XP farming location faster. Total team power for the arena, both classic and tag arena, will be displayed in the battle and battle log tabs. Pretty interesting to keep in mind what teams you attacked, and whenever you're gonna attack the same enemy again, especially when you're doing Platinum Arena, you'll be able to remember if he changed anything on his builds on the champion. So I like that idea there. Do let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the new champions, the new changes, and of course, the new Playtime Rewards, guys. I feel like they're huge. But that was all for this video. Appreciate all of you guys watching. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe for more content, turn on notifications to see when we upload next, and I'll see you all soon on another video. Till then, peace out.